Hello, everyone. Today is my birthday. I'm another year older, and previously I shared my favorite films from every year I've been alive, my favorite comic book films, my favorite horror films, my favorite sci fi films. And today, to change things up, I wanted to share my favorite action films from every year I've been alive. So, real quick, before I continue, share your favorite action films from every year you have been alive, and get some drinks and a snack and enjoy this. Starting off the list for 1991 is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I absolutely love this film. This is a James Cameron classic. What more can I say? This is like the perfect sequel that still holds up more than 30 years later. T-1000, Robert Patrick. You have Arnold Schwarzenegger with Linda Hamilton and Edward Furlong, with Guns N' Roses and Brad Fiedel for the soundtrack. Next up for 1992, my favorite action film is Lethal Weapon 3. This is an underrated film that has actually aged very well, like a fine wine. Danny Glover and Mel Gibson are terrific as ever. We have Renee Russo added to the family of Lethal Weapon. She is wonderful in this, a kick-ass female heroine. Joe Pesci is as funny as ever. Oh man, Richard Donner just knocks us out of the park. Stuart Wilson plays an underrated villain as Jack Travis. I love this, all the way down to Eric Clapton and Sting's song. Next up for 1993 is Last Action Hero. This is a film that was very much ahead of its time, a meta classic, so to speak, from the writer of Lethal Weapon, director of Die Hard and Predator. Arnold Schwarzenegger is in on the joke. He makes fun of himself perfectly. I love this. This is such a wonderful film that was meta before Wes Craven's New Nightmare and Scream. If this film came out now, I think it would be much more appreciated. I love that Sylvester Stallone Terminator scene. It's just cool having Houdini's ticket. If you're a movie fan, getting to go into your favorite movie and having your favorite movie characters come out of the film into the real world. After that, for 1994 is Speed. Speed is an intense action-packed thriller. Keanu Reeves. Pop quiz. You have a hair trigger aimed at your head. What do you do? What do you do? Sandra Bullock. Both of them are terrific in this. Dennis Hopper is a villain. Jeff Daniels, Joe Morton. Speed is a wonderful film that probably should never have had a sequel. Like, this film is not only a quintessential 90s film, but it's one of the quintessential action films. Die Hard on a bus, so to speak. After that, for 1995, oh man, there are so many great action films in 1995, and I have a hard time choosing. But starting off is Mortal Kombat. All the way from that opening theme to the fights, the visuals. This is probably still one of the best video game adaptations ever presented on film. Like, seriously, I love this movie. Any 90s kid growing up, you know how special this movie is. And next up is GoldenEye 007. This is the first 007 film I saw. Pierce Brosnan's probably best entry as James Bond. I love this. Martin Campbell later on redefined the 007 wheel with Casino Royale, but this is Bond in the 90s post-Cold War, and it works and still holds up today. Die Hard with a Vengeance is probably the best Die Hard sequel, and best Die Hard right after the first film. John McTiernan comes back. We have Samuel L. Jackson added to the cast with Bruce Willis, as well as Jeremy Irons as the villain. This truly is a personal vendetta against John McClane, and there's a reason for it to be Die Hard with a Vengeance. I love this. I kind of wish the series ended with this one. Last up for 1995 is Desperado. Robert Rodriguez's sequel to El Mariachi. This is a wonderful film with Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek. Los Lobos in the soundtrack. I love this. After that, for 1996 is The Rock. The Rock is one of Michael Bay's earliest films, and probably still one of his best. I love this film with Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery, Ed Harris. So many action-packed sequences and fantastic visuals. This is one of the best of the 90s. Going with more action, in 1997 is Face Off, a wonderful John Woo film where Nicolas Cage and John Travolta switch places, and they play each other so well. I love this movie. It's campy, it's funny, but it's action-packed, and it's just done brilliantly. I mean, just everything came together for this film, and I don't know if they could really replicate it. Like 1995, the year of 1998 has many favorites, first being Blade. Blade started the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so to speak. Without Blade and Men in Black, you would not have had Spider-Man, X-Men, hell, even Dark Knight trilogy to the modern MCU. Blade started it all, and it has some fantastic visuals. A year before The Matrix, Wesley Snipes kicks ass as the vampire hunter, as the Daywalker. Steven Dorff. Oh man, this movie is just awesome. After that is Mask of Zorro, a classic swashbuckling adventure. Anthony Hopkins, Antonio Banderas, Catherine Zeta-Jones. Stuart Wilson is a chameleon, again, unrecognizable as Rafael Montoya. You can't even tell that was Jack Travis from Lethal Weapon 3. I love this film. No other Zorro film has come close to this. And then last but not least is Lethal Weapon 4. I don't know how Lethal Weapon 5 or Lethal Finale is going to be, but this was such a perfect ending for many years. And Jet Li is just amazing as the villain. The highway chase, the fights. Man, the gang's all here, and it was such a fantastic, action-packed ending to the Lethal Weapon saga. After that, in 1999, is it any surprise that I would take the red pill with The Matrix? The Matrix redefined films for the 21st century. It ended the 20th century on a high, and I absolutely love this. A thought-provoking film that also incorporates a lot of wire work and kung fu action. I love this. Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, Carrie-Anne Moss, Hugo Weaving. This movie is just an awesome movie that I don't think even the sequels lived up to quite fully. For the year of 2000 is Mission Impossible 2. The first film was a bit more of a slow burn film with an action-packed finale. This one, Ethan Hunt is a shoot first, ask questions later type of person. I love this. John Woo directs this. This was completely different from the first film, but then there's some things this film got right and wrong. Was it the best Mission Impossible film? No, but it was a damn good action film, and I would say that this film was kind of like the meter to kind of test the waters of what will and what will not work in the future of Mission Impossible. And without this film, I don't think they would have known what worked and what didn't work in this franchise, and we would have not gotten the films that we had today without this or even Mission Impossible 3. For 2001 is an underrated film called Swordfish. I love this. It's very much like an early 2000s film with a computer hacker played by Hugh Jackman. You have Halle Berry, John Travolta. Some wonderful sequences here that are reminiscent of The Matrix. But this is one of the movies that's like Matrix in a post-Matrix world that I actually like and gets kind of the closest to in many ways. In 2002 is The Bourne Identity. This is a film that totally redefined the spy genre. And it kind of played against conventions of spy thrillers and car chases. I mean, just that little bug scene, the Ready, Steady, Go scene was fantastic. Matt Damon just was in a completely different role as Jason Bourne and would create this iconic character. It did have some changes from the novel, even though it stayed pretty true as far as structure. It made some changes, especially to Jason Bourne, that I think are for the better. And it was the start of something beautiful. For 2003, there's no question that The Matrix Reloaded was my favorite action film that year. It was the first rated R film I saw in theaters. The first rated R film I saw was probably Die Hard or Lethal Weapon on home video, but Matrix Reloaded, while you may say it's not the best, it's not as good as the first, the action delivered, and on the action front with a Mona Lisa overdrive scene, the Chateau fight, the Burley brawl, the ending, this film delivered and upped the ante. For 2004, my favorite is The Bourne Supremacy. This took what worked in the first one and improved upon it. It was also one of the few films of the Bourne Identity series that I think Paul Greengrass utilized shaky cam in a very good way. It wasn't done overkill and it didn't give you a headache. It was done just in the right way. The chase sequences, Jason Bourne, not only you get to see his full potential here, but you also get to see him at his most vulnerable, getting beat up. He's a man, just, oh man, he's just going through a lot of stuff in this, all the way down to that taxi cab car chase at the end. I love it. I mean, he fights a guy with a magazine. For 2005 is a film called The Island. This is a very underrated Michael Bay film with Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson, Michael Clark Duncan. They play clones off this island. I love the kind of like helibike scene. You know, you have that motorcycle scene. I love it. This is just an action-packed original Michael Bay film that's very different from his other films, but still has a lot of visual cues and tropes from his other films as well. For 2006 is Casino Royale. Martin Campbell once again delivers another fantastic first outing for 007. Daniel Craig redefines the role and is probably one of the best. I love this. I love this modern adaptation of the novel from Ian Fleming. This film has action, romance, everything. It shows you why James Bond is, in fact, Bond. James Bond. For 2007, I love Transformers, but Live Free or Die Hard was my favorite action film. John McClane's back at it again, and the unrated R version is even better. I mean, you get police car chases, shootouts, all the way down to John McClane fighting a jet. Yeah. You get an analog hero in a digital world, the stakes are high, and this is an underrated Die Hard entry. For 2008 is Sylvester Stallone's Rambo. Rambo is such a hardcore film. I absolutely love Rambo. I kind of wish the series ended here. He gets back to the roots of Rambo. I love him just being this person who's not in America. He's just kind of on his own, almost quiet, until these missionaries get attacked from this church group, and he just goes guerrilla warfare on these guys with bows and arrows before getting a hold of like this giant Gatling gun rifle. Man, the action is just so intense and just gritty. Sylvester Stallone did a fantastic job with this, and I think this is probably the best Rambo film along with the original First Blood. For 2009 is Terminator Salvation. Terminator Salvation, while it is PG-13, it still is an action-packed post-apocalyptic film. It's more Mad Max than it is Terminator at times, but I love Christian Bale in this, Sam Worthington, the late great Anton Yelchin, CGI Arnold done in a very early way. This movie has a lot of action and a lot of moments that are a little derivative of other Terminator films, but also the best of Terminator. It's the most true Terminator sequel, and I think the best right after Terminator 2 Judgment Day. For 2010 is The Expendables, another wonderfully crafted Sylvester Stallone film. I mean, that church scene with Bruce Willis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Sylvester Stallone is worth an admission alone, but you get Jason Statham, Mickey Rourke, Terry Crews, Jet Li. Oh man. Randy Couture. You have Eric Roberts as a villain, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You have Dolph Lundgren. This film is just a man's film and just puts a smile on your face. If you love action films, this is a love letter to like the 80s, 90s era of action movies. And I kind of wish Slide directed all the Expendables. You know, I enjoy each entry, but the first one I think is still my favorite to this day. For 2011 is The Raid Redemption. The Raid Redemption is a wonderful film with these police kind of going through this building. I love that. If you love Dread or Die Hard, this is the ultimate movie for you. If you love that kung fu kind of like martial arts action, you're gonna love this movie. This is one of the best action movie series of the 2010s outside of John Wick. This totally goes back to the roots of the 80s and 90s action films, and you have real people doing like real things. It's not like superhero action. Like this is just like an pure action film. For 2012 is Skyfall. Probably my second favorite Daniel Craig 007 film. Wonderfully crafted by Sam Mendes, from the opening motorcycle chase to the closing confrontation at the Skyfall mansion. This film is just everything you want from a James Bond film. For his first 50 years, this is a perfect love letter. 2013 is Olympus Has Fallen with Gerard Butler. This is pretty much like Die Hard in the White House. As a matter of fact, this would have actually made a better Die Hard script. I love this movie. I love seeing like Gerard Butler fell. Aaron Eckhart kind of holds a grudge as a president. You have Morgan Freeman in this, but then the White House is attacked, the president is taken hostage, and Gerard Butler has to save him. Such a great story and redemption arc for their characters, but just a perfect setting for an action movie. If you love Die Hard and Under Siege, Olympus Has Fallen is like that in the White House. For 2014, we had the action movie series to change action movie series going forward with John Wick, the perfect revenge movie and another great comeback for Keanu Reeves. I love John Wick 1. People keep asking if I'm back, and I really haven't had an answer. But yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. I love this. Just don't mess with a man's dog. Like, seriously. He once killed a guy with a pencil, for Christ's sake. For 2015 is Mad Max Fury Road. George Miller knocked it out of the park, and for his age, I can't believe it. A guy in his 20s or 30s, it feels like, did this film. He gets the first three movies, reinvents the wheel, and puts it into overdrive, all the way down, shiny and chrome to the roads of Valhalla. Tom Hardy is awesome in this, but Charlize Theron steals the show as Furiosa. It can't get any more pure than this. Mad Max Fury Road is a crown achievement. For 2016, it's Jason Bourne. Jason Bourne I actually really dug. I mean, I love all the Jason Bourne films, but I thought the fourth one was kind of underrated. I love seeing Matt Damon back. After the debacle that was a Bourne Legacy, it was nice seeing the real deal come back. While I wish certain scenes from the trailer made into the film, I still love the action, whether it be chases, fist fights, or even a motorcycle and car chase. That car chase through Las Vegas was just spectacular, all the way down to that ending. This movie was just an awesome movie, and if they ended here, it's not a bad way for Jason Bourne's series to end. 2017 is Baby Driver, an awesome film from Edgar Wright. Not only has an amazing soundtrack and brilliant performances, but the car chases are spectacular. I love this for an action movie, kind of like a bank robbery film, romance film. I love it. 2018, Mission Impossible Fallout. Oh my god, this might be the best Mission Impossible film so far. I love Christopher McQuarrie's work, what he did with Rogue Nation. But this one, he takes it to another level. This feels like a Bond movie in many ways. This is a Dark Knight of Mission Impossible films. A film that actually continues off of the previous one. I love it. From Tom Cruise actually doing a halo jump, from the motorcycle scene and car chase scenes in Paris, to the ending with that helicopter sequence. Oh my god. This movie just has everything. It keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it has a wonderful story. Awesome soundtrack by Lauren Balfe. Oh, Mission Impossible Fallout. It's just a spy film done at its finest. For 2019 is John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. I love this film. All the John Wicks are amazing. This one, he goes through the ringer. He gets hurt. This one really goes back to what worked in the first film, but then adding to it. Having him escape all these people, being excommunicado. Going back to basically selling his soul to ultimately being betrayed. Oh man, this film set up a lot of stuff for the next film that comes out this year, and I absolutely love it. Seeing Angelica Houston and Halle Berry was a plus as well. This is just action at its finest. No other film series has been like Mission Impossible and John Wick for action this past decade. 2020 is Bad Boys for Life. I love Bad Boys for Life. All three Bad Boy films are amazing. This one kind of goes back to the groundedness of the first film. It's nice seeing Will Smith and Martin Lawrence deal with age in this entry and legacy. This has plenty of twists and turns, but also has many exciting sequences, whether it be car chases, shootouts, or fights. For 2021 is Nobody. Bob Odenkirk really goes against type here as this kind of like assassin in many ways. Christopher Lloyd is his father. This is from the writer of John Wick. And no wonder. It surprised me just like the first John Wick. If you need to see a comedy with a kind of unconventional action hero, this is the film that has so many like action set pieces, kills, and gore. I love Nobody. Nobody is a film that everybody should watch. Last but not least, for 2022, my favorite action film would have to be Ambulance. Much like Speed, it does take place in a vehicle. It deals with these brothers in a bank robbery and then taking an ambulance and paramedic hostage. And I love it. Eiza Gonzalez, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Jake Gyllenhaal. Michael Bay really returns to form here. I've always loved his films, but he kind of experiments more with like drone filming and quick action, and I love this. I love how real it feels. It feels like a movie from the 90s in a good way. And for 2023, there's going to be a lot of films, but I would have to say it might be a tie between John Wick Chapter 4 and Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this list. Feel free to share your favorite action films from every year you've been alive down in the comments. That does it for this video. In the meantime, stay safe and healthy. Check out these other videos for more content. Till next time, I'm going to enjoy eating out and having some of my birthday cake and enjoying some gifts as I get older. And hopefully we'll have more action movies in the future. We shall see. Till next time, everyone.